guys, welcome back to Clockwork Noodles for the first episode of Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 1. Happy this is back. Hello and welcome to Clockwork Noodles. This is the Noodle Bowl. I break down anime every single week. I've got 4 videos going out this season. This is a long one. This is going to be 24 episodes of gold and I can't wait to see it because Mappa has taken the helm and obviously I'm a big Wit Studio fan. But I am very proud that Mappa has done it justice. My goodness, this first episode, everything was in this episode that I wanted for a start of a new season. If you are not subscribed already, give it a little consider. I will be breaking this one down for 24 long weeks. Half a year. We're going to be breaking Vinland Saga down for half a year. I am so happy to be doing it with you guys. So hello and welcome back. If this is your first time tuning in after the New Year break, hope your Christmas was merry and I hope your New Year is good. Welcome back. I have missed you and I hope you guys are as excited as I am for the new season. I have made a Canute helmet. I love Vinland Saga, the first season, so much. The helmet that Canute was wearing when you first see him. Don't think he's got it in this season because he is in the OP and he seems to have swapped it out finally for the crown. He might bring it back. It's such a nice piece and I own it now. I'm very happy. I'm looking at it as I speak to you guys. Maybe in the future I'll sell it and we'll do an auction. Donate the money to somewhere. That would be cool. But that's a story for the future. Let's now jump back into this story. And yes, I didn't break the season 1 down on the channel. I don't. It is such a good story. I need to break it down with you guys. I need to be having an outlet. I need to be discussing this with you guys. Let's go for the OP. Amazing. Love the transitions. The transitions are very creative. There is a kaleidoscope effect going on. The whole jumbled nature of multiple perspectives we're going to be getting. We've got the breaking of glass as well. So the perfect analogy for what is happening with quite a few of the characters, even with the new character we are introduced to this week as well. Realities can be shattered. Breaking of glass can also be a symbol of freedom where you're breaking through something to get somewhere. Not quite sure how we are going to be depicting the breaking of glass just yet, but it works for episode 1 with the more shattering of a reality. Like everything's come crashing down. Thorfinn also drowning under the weight of a metaphorical, maybe a real ocean. Maybe he's going to get dumped in the ocean at some point. I don't think that's going to be the case because we see him at the end of this episode. I have missed you, Thorfinn. He's my little boy who had all the shit happen to him. He's now grown into a very twisted man and at some point I am begging that the fates are gonna smile upon him and he finally gets some kind of break. Maybe this will be it. Chilling on a farm right now. We do get to see Canute with blood on his hands when he's holding the crown because obviously that crown came at a cost. It came at the cost of Asklad. Best characters, best also villains. He's the motivation behind Thorfinn, the revenge that Thorfinn wants because he killed the hot boy Thors right in episode 1. Did he die in episode 1? I feel like he died in either 1 or 2. It wasn't long into the story. See, he's a very changed man. He's got the wound on his face, which Thorfinn gave him. Yeah, Thorfinn gave it to him. That's obviously going to serve as a reminder, hopefully, to him physically. I did not like the fact that the wound opens up and we delve into it, but metaphorical as we are probably going to be delving into the wounds that he is now bearing. Hopefully we get to catch up with him at some point. Core visual for the OP is the ocean, and the ocean is literally all around the UK because I think we do start in the UK, but I don't know where we are right now. The water is also between the land of the Vinland. The Vikings also conquered the seas to get to those many countries. It is everywhere and the ocean is going to play a big role at some point when we cross it to finally get to Vinland, and that will be the Vinland Saga. And we're going to be introduced to our new boy, and I'm going to adopt him as well because I am one of those people who just adopts everyone. I think it's the Japanese EI which they're using. I feel like it's not actually pronounced like this, but we will call him Einar because it's easier for me to pronounce. He's a new character who is living in rural UK. It looks exactly like some of the little tiny towns near me. I'm not going to lie, it did feel like I was looking at old home in a sense. My town used to be quite rural and now it's built up sadly. But I have been told as well that the second season of Vinland Saga is going to flow very differently. I think it's going to be less battle orientated. We're not going to be seeing these boats hurtling down the hills or anything like that. It's going to be very different. We're on a farm. I don't know how lively it's going to get on a farm, but we've already seen in this episode, it gets pretty lively in a bad way. Once upon a time, the entire country I live in used to look like this. A nice little fun fact for you guys, I live in a town called Biggleswade. Trusting you guys with that information, but I'm not telling you where in Biggleswade. Name Biggleswade itself is a Saxon name, and there was a Saxon named Biggles who waded across the river. There's a low point, you can actually see the exact point where he crossed. The whole town was named after him wading across to create it. There is a Saxon settlement quite nearby to me, which is quite cool. The people we see Einar with, Einar would have been a Saxon. He would have been living there peacefully, and then we do see his world getting turned upside down quite quickly. the ability to light a scene. And let's talk about the two scenes. I'm going to do a bit of a contrast here. The dappled shade we see on Mum's face, really, really nice. You really do feel like you're outside. You're enjoying the breeze. There's a light breeze. Maybe it's summer in the UK and all that gold corn is around you. But then let's talk about contrast. Contrast being absolutely everything turning to shit. The Vikings are here and they ain't here just to have a little chat over tea. They're here to cause pain. The lighting suddenly changes. There's fire. All that beautiful scenery that we've suddenly grown used to. It was too good to be true. Basically waiting for any point during that meal initially for things to go horrifically wrong. Thankfully, the Vikings seem to have waited for them to have the meal before striking. The light on the Vikings' face as the fire is burning in the background, making them look very imposing. Such a different contrast from the earlier sequence where it's all light and bright, whilst now we've got very harsh, stark, contrasting shadows going on as well. This is Einar's backstory. So all the people around him, they were probably all going to die in Vinland Saga fashion. His backstory would be quite common for the period. The scene with the poppy flower was really nice because poppies are the flower of remembrance. I think it's a perfect choice. This scene would be one he remembered for the rest of his life. It's going to haunt him. Him losing both his mother and his sister, joining that casualty list of all the people in that town who would have been slaughtered. They do grow wild in the UK, but this would be the scene he would remember throughout the rest of his life. Everything just fell apart. Very similar to Thorfinn as well, that moment when he sees his dad murdered in front of him. It's the moment when these characters have that wall shattered. Everything comes crashing down if you want to go back to the OP. No doubt, he blames himself. He blames himself for being unable to act. He couldn't run. He couldn't go. His mum was telling him to live and just leave with your sister, but he couldn't do it. He was frozen on the spot. So you know, this scene is going to replay in his head, maybe in his darkest moments. I couldn't do anything. Burden of guilt and regret. The depiction of inner turmoil when it blends out and you've got this rough sketchiness distorts. Everything is distorting around him. That scream, intense scream, it's just blind rage. Love the depiction and how the studio's chosen to do it. I think it really, really works. It is also the second anime of this season that I am dealing with, which has the topic of slavery within it. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale, which is blowing up with views right now. Cannot thank you guys enough. Basically the highest video of the year so far, which obviously I've only done 3 videos, but beats most of the view count for last season. So I am very thankful that video is doing very well. But this is the second anime which is going to be dealing with slavery. It's a horrible topic. It's a real topic. I am entitled. I've never been in a situation where I've had to deal with this. I'm going to do my best to handle the topic with care. That goes for both of the videos that are covering it. It's always difficult for me to talk about it. I think it happened once, a video quite a while ago. I did get quite a bit of flack. Einar right now is away from home. He has no value. Everything he knows is gone. It's that moment where he starts to realise there isn't a home to return to. Even if he was to escape, my heart did sink when he was recaptured. I wanted him to escape so badly. He has nowhere to go. He would never be able to go home again. That is still going to be the difference between him and Thorfinn, because Thorfinn has got the sister and the mother alive. They still love him. There's people out there looking for Thorfinn. That is the difference. That is when we get that oh my god sequence where we see a recognisable face. So excited. I was like, oh my god, he's going to help him. He's going to do something. It's Leif Erikson. He's looking for Thorfinn. But he doesn't. And I was like, oh no, do something. But then he doesn't want to save because he's not interested in that. He just wants to save Thorfinn. And it did make my heart bubble a little bit because he's out there looking for Thorfinn, and whether he never gave up and he was always looking for him. And initially I wasn't quite sure what the time period was, whether this was during season 1. But it seems that this is way after. I don't know how much way after it is. I did think that Einar's eyes looked a bit like Thorfinn's. That same hopeless, dead look that we've seen with Thorfinn. He's seen some stuff. I personally thought they had the same look. He's not short enough. He's not blonde. I did also wonder if he had been looking around all of these slave markets the whole time, expecting Thorfinn maybe to show up. The last he knew, Thorfinn was on a boat with his father and he knew that Thors had died, expecting Thorfinn to either be dead or maybe sold into slavery, which seems quite common with this period of time. He cries when he sees Thorfinn again at the end of season 1. I'm so sad that Leif wasn't able to help Einar at this point because he may have also appeared at the end of season 1. That's also when I started to realise that this was happening in the present. I would be curious to see how many years have been in between. I am very confused by the next sequence anyway. I don't know how long it's been between season 1 and season 2. I'm really not sure where we are because the boat took us away from the UK. So we could be anywhere right now. Don't know what country we're in, how Thorfinn got here, or wherever it is we are. Seem to finally have the fates smiling on Aina, even if just a little, because he is still a slave. It does seem that the person he has been bought by is seemingly a nice man. He is called Katil, and that was given to us in the little preview of the next episode, who owns a farm. You do see that sparkle in his eye. He gets a bit of a twitch in the finger because he used to work on a farm. That reminds him of nostalgia. Being bought by somebody who is at least allow him to do work that he's familiar with could be so much worse, because you do see in the lineup when people are looking for slaves that there was a man who said he wasn't young enough or he didn't have a pretty face. It gave you dark implications for what he wanted the young boys for. But let's talk about my favourite sequence of the first episode. There's so much nice stuff going on. There's so much in the OP I could talk about all day, but this is my favourite sequence. It's when the music starts to beautifully build up and swell as we see the farm for the first time. We see the endless waves of golden corn, and it matches the build-up of feelings within Aina when he starts to wonder, maybe I haven't lost. Even if I'm a slave, maybe this is a chance to live. And that's when we see the boy, the man, my boy who I've adopted, Thorfinn, I've missed you so much. I am so happy we have at least ended seeing Thorfinn, because I was wondering where he was. He's here. He's a grown-up, got messier hair than ever. How did you get here, Thorfinn? I thought you were in the UK. Did you get sent away in exile because you attacked the king? But it is how Aina and Thorfinn met. So this entire episode was not only just backstory for Aina, but it's also a touching base of where we are in the story right now. We know that Leif Erikson is hunting down Thorfinn. We know Aina has now met Thorfinn. We've seen Aina's backstories. How he's similar in a way to Thorfinn, maybe with the loving surroundings, loving with a exclamation mark over it. Unlike Thorfinn, who was tossed into battle and trying to get revenge, Aina may not turn out like Thorfinn. He might actually turn a little bit differently if he's treated well enough by his owner. And I hate saying that word because it sounds so bad. Nobody should own another human being. But why is Thorfinn a slave? I have so many questions right now. I feel like we are missing a bit of information about what's happened in between, but hopefully we get that next week. Honestly thought he was going to go with Leif, but then he attacks Canute. The blade hit floor and they teased season 2 and we were so excited. We were all hyped for it. So let's talk about the ED very quickly, how much I really like it, and it is such a good contrast to the OP, Endless Fields of Gold. Now, gold is such a prominent colour when it comes to colour theory. It's a very prospective colour. If where gold is supposed to bring money into your life, it's meant to be prosperity. That's the word I couldn't remember. Gold is a very positive colour. It's a possibility that prospects are going to start looking up. The song is also very, very nice, but we do see Thorfinn once again drowning, and that's going to be a theme, I think. Hopeful. The OP is very downtrodden and dark. The ED is bright. It does make me excited. I roughly know the saga. There's 2 debates on the Vinland Saga itself. One is around Leif Erikson, I think, and then the other one was this guy, Magnus the Red or something. There's 2 different debates on who actually got there first. The story is out there. Vinland Saga is loosely based on a tale from the Viking period. I'm going to be very excited to see how it ends, what's going to happen in the next 24 episodes, because I've been told that the first season is more like a prequel to the actual story. So we're now in the meat of it. We're now meeting the players. There's a lot of characters I think we need to meet still. Aina is important because he's also in the ED. I have a feeling maybe him and Thorfinn are going to team up, but Thorfinn is very antisocial because he's very troubled. I don't know how he's going to overcome that. Amazing first episode. I am so hyped it's here. People have those animes that they have on their list that they're looking forward to in the year. Vinland Saga's been on it ever since they even dropped the knife at the end of season 1. I have had it on my list. They announced they were swapping studios. My heart sunk a little bit because I love Whip, but I was like, wait, it's Mappa. Mappa are, when they want to be, they're very good at what they do. But then people told me it was different because it was going to be slower, not as battle facing, which makes more sense that Mappa did the battles as opposed to Wit not doing it. Wit likes to do little things, and then if they blow up, then sometimes they get too big for them to handle and then they give them to bigger studios. This is going to be the year of Titans anyway, because Attack on Titan returns this winter. I think Vinland Saga could give it a run for the money for anime of the year. It's probably going to go to Attack on Titan, irritatingly. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my little breakdown, a little commentary, a bit of a fun fact as well. It's an anime that I've been really looking forward to. Really hope that we can get some very good conversations going. Thank you guys so much. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.